I chaired a special meeting with EXCO in recognition of the excellent work done by our fallen hero and colleague, Klipheuwel. Clearly, as a result of the positive testing, which incidentally was triggered by the unfortunate incident of colleague Klipheuwel. I decided that I should do a quick test. Fortunately, the results came out quite fast. And as a result of that, I'm getting the necessary medical attention.
The Eastern Cape government is strengthening its response to COVID-19. It's embarking on a community-based approach, which will see 87 ward command teams introduced in the OR Tambo and Nelson Mandela Bay metros, both of which are deemed hotspots. The province is approaching the 40,000 infections mark and has already recorded more than 500 COVID-19 related deaths. Yanga Funani has this report.
The Eastern Cape has been battling to contain the virus. This has forced the provincial government to change its approach. Reinforcement of stringent COVID-19 restrictions is on the cards.
This plan is based in the spirit of Masiphathisane and is anchored on our strategic focus of containing virus, investing in sustainable solution, protecting the vulnerable and the poor, and rejuvenating the provincial economy and securing the future.
On the education front, the gradual phasing in of grades 3, 6 and 11 is also a thorny issue in the province.
In terms of other grades, we are comfortable because the CEM has been able to propose an augmentation in terms of the curriculum and examination and assessment in other grades. So generally in the country, there is not going to be a challenge in terms of the standards from grade 11 downwards.
Mabuyane also announced that the province had written to President Cyril Ramaphosa requesting the Special Investigation Unit to probe corruption at the OR Tambo municipality, which saw millions of rands misappropriated on a door-to-door campaign. This campaign was aimed at COVID-19 education and awareness. The Hawks have already begun an investigation into the affairs of the troubled district municipality. Yanga Funani, SABC News in Pisho.
Highway blockades and hijackings have marred the protest by South African truck drivers demanding an end to the employment of foreign drivers in Cape Town. At least 2 long-haul trucks were used to block the N1 and N7 near the city. It was a nationwide attempt at shutdown to protest the employment of foreign nationals by trucking companies. Mariska Botha has this report.
None of the truck drivers agreed to be interviewed on camera, but told the SABC their vehicles were hijacked. It ended up lodged in sand, blocking free flow of traffic. One driver said his truck was still parked inside a lot when it was taken, but the person stealing the truck knew how to operate it. Long-haul drivers face numerous, often life-threatening situations on the road. A number of drivers are stuck at a truck stop on the N1 since last week, fearing for their lives while guarding their vehicles. They say nightfall brings what they describe as a pit in their stomachs, as they are at their most vulnerable. One driver said when he's on the road, in order to protect himself, he doesn't even stop for breaks. He says his basic salary is supplemented by the number of kilometers he puts on the clock, making this incident and standstill very stressful. No kilometers, no extra pay.
Luckily, we redirect traffic from Klippheuwel through the engine one-stop garage to get back onto the N1 towards Cape Town. And there is an in-depth investigation by the South African Police Services to get behind the gist of this.
The Huguenot Tunnel at Paarl was open to traffic by the afternoon after a similar attempt was made to block it, but stopped by police. Mariska Botha, SABC News, Cape Town.
Staying with that truck story, 2 truck blockades in and around Durban are causing major early morning traffic jams. A truck blockade is being cleared on the M25 KwaMashu Highway before the N2 bridge in Durban that is currently affecting both routes of carriageway. In the Western Cape, 2 trucks were set alight early this morning on the N1 outbound at Klipheuwel near Cape Town. These incidents come as truck drivers protest the employment of foreign nationals as truck drivers in the road freight industry. They say there are many qualified South African drivers who are not working. This is fueling tensions between unemployed South African drivers and migrant workers who in many instances are paid a lower wage. The national spokesperson for the All Truck Drivers Foundation, Ngcebo Ndlovu, joins us now on the line for more. A very good morning to you, Ngcebo. 2 truck blockades in and around Durban are causing major blockade this morning. Is the protest continuing?
Morning, SABC News. Hello?
Good morning, Ngcebo. Is the protest continuing?
As the drivers issued the statement a couple of weeks, they said the strike will end once government remove all foreign drivers driving a truck in South Africa that are registered in South Africa. If the government doesn't issue or doesn't come with an announcement and a date when the foreign national will stop driving SA registered trucks, the strike won't end until government remove all foreigners, because all South African drivers, they are sitting at home, unemployed and employed one. Only the foreigners are given. Only the foreigners are driving at a time, and so if there are some blockage, I cannot confirm because I don't know nothing about the blockage on the road because I never see anything. But as what was circulating on the media, the driver said they won't resume, they won't go back to their duties until the foreign nationals are removed from the employment to the transport industry in South Africa.
But what do you mean you don't know? This is your initiative. You should have all the information available to you in terms of the activities that are going to be taken in the quest of this cause.
You know what is it? Drivers themselves, they announced, they took the decisions without any organization or without any interference from someone else. The drivers themselves, because yesterday the minister of the drivers, they were willing to get only one decision, that when will be the end of the foreign nationals driving the trucks. According to what they saw or what they will watch from the minister of labor, he didn't comment or didn't issue a statement regarding the removal of foreigners when it will be, but he was talking about to amend or to create or establish a new law that will accommodate the 60% South African and the 40% refugees or foreigners. But there is a law that is currently gazetted in the labor laws of South Africa. The drivers themselves, they want government to implement what is current now, not to establish the new laws that will be against the drivers. So if such an announcement by a leader or a government official that is against the drivers, I think it was issued by the drivers, that's why they feel like something like blockage continuum, because the drivers, they issue one statement until government remove foreigners or issue a statement with the date and when the foreigners will be removed. they don't want to discuss or negotiate any new. They want government to act and implement to what is there, not to create or design a new law that will accommodate. Because the drivers concerned, it seems like government is concerned about the foreigners instead of South African. The South African now unemployment rate is too high, and the people are very, very, very hungry. Can you imagine a man or a woman, a father, and a daddy, and a man in the area is like 10 years unemployed, but he can see someone from the foreign country is passing up and down working with a truck. And there is the rules that if you break that rule, it is a criminality against the employers. Government should be already acted to the employers, because the employers of the truck industry, they break those rules that was gazetted by government. So they undermine, they don't respect the government laws and labor laws of South Africa, but even government is scared to act on behalf of South African. Government should protect every citizen and his people, then and industry. Is government should be blamed because of ignorance.
So I hear that you're engaging with government in terms of legislation and changing the laws. How are you engaging employers because they own these trucks?
What I can tell you, then, the employers, they are owning the truck. But where are these trucks working? They are working in South Africa. South Africa got laws and rules. The employers should respect the rules of South Africa, should respect and take South Africans serious. You can't come from England, come in South Africa as an investor while you reject the citizens. If you're coming from England and you open a business, you must hire the citizens. They will take the citizens as the first priorities, as the driving is not a non-scarce. So they're supposed to be 100% drivers, South African drivers driving the truck. But the employers, because of the lack of leadership in our government in South Africa, that's why the owners of the truck, the private sector, they do as they wish to maximize or to exploit the foreigners, to do as they wish to manipulate the laws of South Africa. Actually, if I can tell you, the truck owners, they undermining the government. They are pointing a finger, or they raising a middle finger to government. They showing him, because they don't do to any foreign. If there's the same company, like there is company like big companies like World, when they open business in Zimbabwe, they employ Zimbabweans only. Just like what happened. World opened a mine in Zimbabwe. It took South African to work there in a mine in Zimbabwe. After like 3 days, they came there. All South Africans, they were rejected and they were deported back to South Africa. Then World is a company from South Africa, but it opened a business there in Zimbabwe. And the government of Zimbabwe tell one story. If you open a business, you must employ a Zimbabwean only, not even a 2% of South African. That's why even the truck drivers, they want government to do the same as the other government in Africa inside the region, to reserve for the locals first. Because people are very hungry and people are very poor.
Yeah.
But their business still running. Even you can see, our country is drowning down due to the negligence of government. Because these foreigners, they are illegal. Most of them, even they are not even paying what you call a tax.
As we're speaking, you and I, As we're speaking, you and I, this afternoon, it might be early morning, late morning, the President Cyril Ramaphosa, as the chairperson of the African Union, is going to take part in a International Labour Organization Global Summit on COVID-19. And some of the things they'll be discussing include the future of work and how governments and labour and workers can work together and different stakeholders. Do you think these meetings are important, and do they have important consequences for workers?
These meetings, doesn't have any importance for the people on the ground. It's only for the politicians or for the people, for the businessmen to make money only. But these meetings, if they're speaking like business to open business in foreign countries, like you said that the president of the country is the chairperson of African Union. Even the other countries, they are there in the African Union. But if the same countries that are here in Africa, they make sure there are certain sectors of job that is reserved for the citizens. They can make business partnership globally, but there are certain jobs that should be reserved for the citizens of that country. What they're doing is good for their side, but the people on the ground keep on crying. Nothing is changing lives for the poor, for the voters of South Africa.
I'm going to ask you a question that you've probably been asked several times. Are you not worried that the protest will fuel xenophobia and xenophobia attacks?
That's why even myself and my organization, we distance and reject any xenophobic attack or any attacks from any truckers, whether a foreign or a citizen. Where the drivers are staying at home, they are not on duty. The drivers are continuing to not going back to work, but they are sitting with their families, waiting for the announcement from government. So I reject any such thing like xenophobic or any attack from any people, even a foreigner. I'm against all that. I even distance our organization and myself in any criminality.
That's very important. Now, have you delivered a memorandum to the government with your demands?
Actually, government knows everything. It's just that they are playing tactics because what do they do? They are playing tactics. They know the truth, and it's like, if I can tell you, even what you call so-called in South Africa is the unemployment rate is growing. It is not naturally. It is engineered and manufactured by government, because government is letting it's just letting the employers manipulate and violate the laws of the country.
Let's wrap this up quickly. Just give us a sense of what's the way forward now. Where are the protests going to be, and how you want to address the public in terms of the impacts of these blockages?
I don't know where there will be any protest yet, because I never get any, because even me, I myself, I got information like you on the social media that there will be a shutdown for the drivers. But what I know, the drivers, they said they will stay at home up until government act and remove all foreigners driving.
Are you serious, Ngcebo, or is this some sort of strategy?
Sorry?
Are you serious that you don't know about the activations, or is this some sort of strategy?
Yes, I don't know. I don't know where I just catch up on them. That's why My organization, ATDF, it never organized.
Yeah.
It just supported the drivers.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. That was Ngcebo Ndlovu, the national spokesperson from the All Truck Drivers Foundation, an official saying he has no idea, but in reality, these blockages are taking place in different parts of the country, as our reporters in those parts have been reporting. It's a story we'll continue to follow.